All right. Good afternoon. I'm flying solo today. Grant, who usually attends these lectures, I believe is ill. I hope he's feeling better. All right. So welcome to day 37 of the Online Rankin Technical College AWD1115 Database-Driven Website Development 2 class. All right. Today and tomorrow, we're going to try to finish up chapter 12. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a couple problems I found with my code yesterday in the quarterly sales app. I don't know if it's going to fix it or not. I'm going to add most of this right as you're watching. Then we're going to go look at the chapter 12 bookstore website. It will not be complete. It is. All right, we will keep working on it in chapter 13, but we're going to get a good start on it now. All right. In addition, I sent you a zip file today that has the seed data in it. So you don't have to type in all the books and the genres and the authors, etc. So we'll go over all this stuff. So again, the first thing I like to do, and I've got this on a piece of paper here, way on the end. These are the problems that I found with my code. So, all right, I'm going to go through those with you right now. So let me bring this up, and I'll bring this up. And first in the employee controller. So let's go to controllers, employee controller. And one thing you may or may not have noticed, and maybe yours is correct, where mine is incorrect, and maybe yours is not correct. And that is, I had here, originally, I had here, uh, check employee right there. And then below this, I had another check employee. They should not be both called check employee. All right, the second one should be called check manager employee match. I've already made the change on my screen. So in your home controller, for me, it's line 30. Well, yours might be 34. I added this so I wouldn't forget. All right. So line 34, this should be check manager employee match. It should not be another check employee. That's silly. Okay, so that was problem number one. So that one's done. Then second, now in the sales, and I should have noticed this, I didn't, but I should have. In our models, in our sale.cs, amount should not have been an int, it should have been a double. Now, when I'm all done going through these mistakes, I'm going to do another migration. And you'd have to do the same, but that should be a double because it's dollars and cents. That was stupid to not put it in that way. All right. So what I did last night, just so you're aware of it, is I literally spent about 2.5 hours going through my working version of this and comparing what you see on your screen now to the working version. All right. So that's the second mistake. Next, in the layout, remove the line that's got the Navbar brand, etc. in it. And I don't know if I've removed it in mine or not, but I'm going to look right now. It's line 15. So again, in layout, Navbar brand, line 15. Remove this line right here. All right. Again, it keeps saving when I get done with each one of these. So that was the first three. Next. All right, again in layout in line 20. Change that content, justify content between that's in there. The rest of it, I think, is the same. Bar collapse, D to new flex. So up to the point where it says justify content between, change that to flex SM row reverse. Hopefully I put that in there correctly. So again, in the same file, get rid of, in line 19 here, this justify content between, replace it with flex SM row reverse. I'm wondering, SM doesn't sound right there, but maybe it is. All right, again, I'm going to save. All right. Again, in layout, right now it says render section async. It should just say render section in line 50 of the layout file. So I changed the at render section async to just an at render section. All right, let's keep going on. All right, next, in the index.cs HTML file, I missed adding a label in the important, so I want you to watch here. All right, so first, in the index.cs HTML file, add new lines 11 and 12. So let's go into that. All right, so right here, I forgot to add a label. The other thing I screwed up with is this div right here. Where are we? This div shouldn't be here. No, this is all part of the same thing. This div should be down here. Now it's going to give me an error right now, probably because I don't have a matching one, but I'm going to get rid of this. All right. And then I'm going to move these over. And as I mentioned to you, I'm going to add a new line 11 and 12 here that looks like this. Now I've got my div here, my div here, div here, and div here. All right. And let me double check. But I think the other div should go at the end of this. All right. I believe that that is now correct. All right, so take a look at that if you would. I'll make this smaller so you can see all of it. All right, and make sure that inside of here, add a label for the employee. I did not have that. Add this div line, did not have that. Since you've got a beginning div, you need an end div, which is there. This did not change, but the end div for this, all right, for the whole thing was down here. Move it down to here. All right, again, I'm going to do a file save all, and I'm going to jump back into here. All right. The employee.cs, so in the controller, excuse me, right after the title, and I believe I already added this, but add that section scripts. All right. And I think I'm wrong here. I think that's CS HTML. So I believe it's in that employee CS HTML. I believe that originally in here, oh, where are you? Let me look. All right, in the employee here, I did not have this section in here. It's the same section as the one in the ad for sale. That one I did put in. So I grabbed it, copied it to the clipboard, went back to my employee ad, and then added it in. All right, that's another mistake. And then finally, all right, um, in the views sale ad thing, in 3 lines, 17, 29, and 41. So in the views sale, don't ask me how I did this, but if you look, it's got form label. That shouldn't be there. And we've got it here too, form label. And one last time, we've got form label. So remove those, and if you were following along with me, they were lines 17, 29, and 41. All right. So file, save all, and I think what I'll do is I will post this file that I created, and I'll include that in with the email that you'll get later today. All right. Now, since I did make a change to the model, I'm not sure if that would actually require me making a permanent change in here or not, but I'm going to anyway. So I'm going to first do a remove migration to get rid of the last migration that I made in here. It succeeded. All right, it says it's already been applied. Well, I've got initial setup. It says revert it and try again. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do another add migration. So clear. So add migration, and I'm going to say fixed sale model amount error. It's a pretty big name for it, but that's okay. Okay, and there it is. So let's update the database. Hopefully that'll work. Remember that, there we go. As the update, if we have no yellow and no red, yellow are warnings, red is an error. There weren't any. So now the reveal, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try it anyway. So I'm going to close this. In fact, I think I'm going to close just about everything that I have open here. So file, save all, and let's run it and see what happens. It did come up and show this yesterday. All right, I can now filter. There's Ada Lovelace, so she doesn't have any sales. There's Grace Hopper. You can see she has 2 sales. There's me. I just put myself in yesterday. I don't have any sales. All right. And whoops. And there's Katherine Johnson. Now, since I put myself in there, since I added myself, and since we have neither um, the ability to edit nor the ability to delete it here, I'm going to stay in there. All right. So let's filter again. In fact, let's add a sale. All right. We'll say it's not for Q1. We'll give it this year. The amount will be 56789, and it'll be for me. Now, this is not good news because typically it should bounce back like that. And as you can see, it's not. So there's still a problem that this is having. Usually when you go back to here, there it is. It's telling me it's an invalid cast to go from that to a double. All right. Okay, you know what that means? That means that probably, I'm looking the amount. That means that wherever I'm doing the int to check for the amount, I should be doing, it should be a double. So there's a mistake in my code. That's okay. Let's look for it. I'm going to start by going into my, let's see. Let's look at the controllers. And let's start here. And is there amount in here? It does not look like it. So home controller, is there an amount in there? No. Sales should be an amount in here. Oh, yoke. How about inner validation controller? Well, it's not in there anyplace. All right. Thought that's where that would be being called. So, but it's pretty obvious looking at that it is being called someplace. So let's see, where would that be being called? So I have changed this. So this now is coming in here and it is saying that amount is a double. That's what I had originally on my working version. I don't think they're going to find it in here. All right, so there's amount. It is finding an error. All right, so let's see. But there's nothing in here that's working with the type. Thought all the checks were being done in the controller. I'm going to go back to that in a moment. In fact, it would be, I think, either in sales list, and it's not, or it would be in my, let's see, sales context. So these amounts, I don't know. I'm going to come in here and make these doubles to see if that fixes it. So I'm going to say in here, I'm going to force it by casting it into a double for each one of these. All right. And we're going to see if that fixes my error that I had. All right, so let's stop the run, start the run again and see if that fixed it or if it did nothing. So again, I will filter that down to me. All right, I will add a sale, 1/2023, and that'll be for me. Now, still has unable to cast int, so there is still a problem in here, okay? And again, you can see that it is in my greater than attribute. I did not check the attributes, so let's look at those. All right. And again, this is fine. It's a learning moment for all of us. So let's go to validation, which I didn't check. And I think it was in the greater than, but we'll check. Nope. To check. See, I would think it would have been falling down to here to double to check, but for whatever reason, it does not appear to be. Son of a gun. Something is forcing this to go wrong. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? And it's showing the error in here. It's grabbing the error right here. And I know it is because I changed that. All right, I know it's because I changed that from an int to a double. Now, Let's see if we revert it back. What happens here? All right, so I'm going to remove the migration, see if that works. All right, it says it's already been applied, revert it and try again. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to remove the database. It'll give me an error saying it cannot remove it. In fact, let's see if we can drop it. Use one of those commands we talked about before. Drop database quarterly sales. All right, is it drop without the hyphen? I don't remember. Drop is not recognized. So what is it saying here? The term drop database is not recognized. All right, so let's clear this, get rid of all those errors, and see what it said in our book. And you may or may not believe this, but in all honesty, I like doing this kind of stuff. All right, because that allows me to find out where I've made errors. So coming back into here, and it would be in the previous chapter. Hopefully that's coming up. Let's try it like this then. I said I wanted to show you the drop database. You can see how this isn't working right now. So let's just go back and do it the other way. This isn't the way I wanted to do it, but it's okay. That is, I can right mouse click on this and choose delete. And it says delete it. Yes. I can also close the existing connection to it. Now it's gone. So now let's go and do it again. All right, so we still have in there migrations. We still have the initial and this fixed. I'm going to manually get rid of this fixed one. All right, so it's gone. Then I'm going to go back to my sale and I'm going to change it back to an int. I don't know why it would do that, but it did. So file, save all. All right, why again you'd have an amount in there like that, I don't know. That would be an int. So save all. I'm going to come back in again and try to do another add migration. And we're just going to say model error fix. And of course it failed. Lovely. Let's go back in here first, refresh, and see if quarterly sales is gone. And it is. Now, sometimes when this happens, the best thing to do is to come back because it may have screwed up some internal files, is to go back to build and rebuild your solution, which should literally take a matter of seconds. All right, now it's giving me errors. Okay, cannot convert double to int. Well, that's because of all those I put in there. Now I've got to remove these. All right. And actually, it should work okay when you think about it, because all we're doing is we're formatting it as currency. So these are all whole numbers. So what will happen here, what will happen here is it will just put a .00 on each one of these. And that's no big thing one way or the other. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 are gone. So file, save all. I'm going to do another build, rebuild solution, and you can already see that those are gone. I'm down to just my warnings. Okay, so I'm going to come down into my tools, NuGet package manager console, and attempt to add the migration again. It says it succeeded, and let's do an update database. Everything is being added back in right now, as you can see. All right, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to make this very small. I am going to refresh, here and then check and make sure I've got a quarterly sales database. I do. Tables. I've now got an employee table. If I look at the data, there are my employees. And if I look at the sales, there are my sales. So everything appears to be back and running okay. All right. And let me close a bunch of these. So let's see. All right. So let's run the program again. Again, I will put in me and I'm gone. That's right, because that would be the case because we removed the database. So let's go to Grace Hopper and notice she's already got something in 2019 quarter four. So let's see if we can add a sale quarter four, 2019. Doesn't matter the amount. And we'll put in Grace Hopper and we'll see if it grabs it flags it as an error. Sales for Grace already in the database. That's good. She doesn't have one, I believe, for quarter three. So let's change that. And again, it doesn't appear as though it took this. So I'm going to come back to here and see if it comes back to the screen and it shows me an error. So far, no. So let's go back and look again. But it did not appear. So let's see if it did add her. Back to home. It's not in here, so it's not adding. So the add sale does not appear to be working. Son of a gun. See if we can add an employee. We'll add me again and see if we can give me a sale. So Jeff Scott, birth date. Let's say 10, 10, 20, 2000. That's fine. Hire date will be 1/1/2022, and the manager will be Ada Lovelace. So employee Jeff Scott added to database, so that is working. All right, when I filter, there's me. I have no sales because I've just been added. So let's add a sale. We'll make it 2023. Oops, it's the quarter, I'm sorry. So the quarter will be, this would be the fourth quarter of 2023, the amount, and it'll be for me. Again, it's not picking it up, so you can tell there is some kind of an error in here. I don't know what it is. I will again look as soon as I'm done today. And if I can't fix it, then what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'll grab the author's version. All right. And mine is real similar. All right. After I created mine, I went and looked at the author's. So it's going to be almost identical, but evidently the author has something I do not have. All right. And what do I mean? I want to show you and then we're going to move on. All right. I'm going to close this. So let me exit and let me go to my actual working copy of the author's stuff. Let me remove and close some of this stuff. All right. Wrong book, but right place. So I'm in the instructors area, student projects, project solutions. This is again chapter 11, quarterly sales. I'll bring that up. And run it and see if this one works. Now, it's possible that there could be some different names in here. I don't think there are. Heck, you never know. Should still be loading. So there we go. I've not run one from here before where I actually go out to the author's site and then try running it. I don't, it should work, but I don't know why it wouldn't, at least, unless there's some administrator thing on here that I don't know about. But normally when it twirls this long, it's finding some kind of an error. It's not showing me anything though. No, there it is. Invalid column name. That's in here. Okay, I can tell you what it is too. I called mine first name with an upper N, and there they've got first name with a lower N. So what I'm saying is I think at least there's a discrepancy in the database. So let's do this. I just want to see if the authors works. That's all. So tools, NuGet package manager console. It didn't let me drop the database, so I'm going to try dropping it again like this. Quarterly sales, delete. All right, I'm going to again run. So there should be a migration in here already. Just says initial. So I'm going to run another migration. And I'll call it in here JP Scott initial. I would think this is going to work with no problem, but we'll see. Well, it just says succeeded. I don't know. That doesn't show any data in here, which I don't like, but we're going to see. So I'm refreshing the database. See if we've got a quarterly sales. We do. It has our employee table. There's our employees. It has our sales. There's our sales. So that all looks good. So let's run the program and see if the author's program, unlike mine, if the author's program indeed does run. All right. So let me close this as well. All right. So there we've got that. That appears to be working okay. Can we filter? All right, and like we did before, I'm going to go to Grace Hopper and try to do 2019 Q4 and see if that gives me an error. This should give me an error over here and say that there's already something in the database with that. So that's good. Cancel out of there. So let's go back and try it again for Grace Hopper, and we'll put in something that will work. So we don't have anything in 2021. So let's add a sale for her. Doesn't matter the quarter. So this should put her in there. And as you can see, it does. So the authors is working. Let's see, 23, 42, 43, 74, 109, 132. Yeah, and it's adding it too. So everything is working. That's good. All right. Let's attempt to add a new employee that's already in there. All right. To do that, I'll try to re-add. Let's just do it this way. I'll add myself, which will work, and then I will go in and try to add myself again. So we'll see if that works. So I'm going to go here to add employee, and this should work because there is no Jeff Scott in there. All right, and we'll give Ada Lovelace in there as my manager. All right, so it doesn't show me yet because I don't have any sales, but I should be in here now, and I am. All right, when I filter, there's no sales. So let's add some sales for me. All right, doesn't matter. We're going to go, we can't get rid of this, but say Q1, 2023, the amount will be 67890, and the employee will be me. And I should be in there now. There I am. All right, I'm going to now attempt to go in and add myself again. All right, now to do that, I'm going to go back to home. And of course, I wasn't really paying attention when I put all that stuff in there. All righty. So let's do one. We're going to add one more employee just to keep it simple. Add one more employee. It'll be John Doe. John's birth date will be 1/1/1990. 1/1/1990. And his hire date will be 1/1/2020. And his manager will be Ada Lovelace. Just to be sure, I'm taking a screenshot of Mr. Doe. And there I've got all that stuff. So if I need it, I've got it. Add it. Now in here, there's John Doe. Okay, let's attempt to add John again. So John Doe, 1/1/1990. The hire date, notice already in the database. It's picking that up as well. So there is something that the author has in their code that I don't have in my code, and I have no flaming clue as to what it is. All right. So rather than going on today, which was the plan, I'm instead going to go on tomorrow. But let me cancel out of this, and I'm going to stop the run here. I am going to go and bring up my code in the author's code, and you'll see that virtually it's going to be identical. Did I make changes? Of course I did. All right, but my stuff is a little bit different, but it shouldn't be very different. So I'm going to go and look at mine and try to look at mine and the author's. See if that works. Let me get rid of this. And let's see. When I saved mine, unfortunately, when I saved it, it got put into a different folder. And I don't know why. I guess I was in a different folder. I think it got put into do list. Yep, quarterly sales. All right. Up. And I'm just going to start going through this stuff. So let's start with the home controller. All right, I'm going to knock this down, move this, and bring up the authors. But the authors, I also want to bring up the home controller. And we're just going to kind of compare and contrast here. Now, if there was a using problem between my stuff and the authors, I would think it would show. Like I don't have link in here. All right, but other than that, and I called it quarterly sales app and not quarterly sales. All right, so let's just start looking in here. All right, again, I did it the old-fashioned way, but there's no problem doing that. All right, so let's just start it right here. I'm going to make this a little smaller. So it shows on screen. There we go. Now they use sales for both names. I use sale. That should not matter at all. If I change mine to sales, all right, if I do that, I'm going to have to go back in and do another migration on mine. I don't really want to do that. So good. Post. Redirecting action. That looks good. Everything looks the same as far as I can tell in the home controller. All right, so I'm going to go on and I'm going to go into the employee controller. Do the same thing. I'm hoping I find some place where the author did something some way and I did it another way. That's my hope. Okay, that second one looks the same. So right now our home looks the same and our employee does. Let's go to sales. And I'm putting myself out here basically, for lack of better words, figuratively naked. I'm trying to find my error. All right. And I'm willing to go and look through the author's stuff because I want you to not have an error. Okay. And again, sometimes I did it the old way. Sometimes I did it with the arrow, like the lambda the new way. So that doesn't matter. That one looks okay. So let's check the validation controller. Put this over a couple lines so I can read it. I won't save it when I'm done anyway. In fact, let's just do this. I won't do that. So again, mine is first name, where his is first name like this. And it's really and truly not a big thing. All right, so all of my controllers look good. They all map up with what the author has. All right. So everything in here should be fine. Migrations that you don't have to check, of course. Let's go to validation in the models and let's look at the validation files. The three here, then we'll do the models. And finally, if we need to, we'll do the views. This is the kind of thing I was doing yesterday. All right. Trying to map mine up but not with this one. I've got a working version of this. That's what I should have brought up, is the working version. All right. So let's see. I want to bring up from my validation folder, which is under models, validation. Let's just bring up all three of these. All right. So the first one is the greater than. Okay. All right, that one looks okay. So the greater than looks all right. Um, let's do the past due. Well, the author here has a question mark after this one. Oh, wait a minute, that's mine. I'm sorry. Mine has a question mark. And I'll remove it so it looks like the author's. Although why that would have any difference in anything is way beyond me. That looks good after making that change, removing that question mark on mine. Here is the validation one, so let's look at that one. That's that one. So that's so far. All of my controllers map up with the authors, and my validation maps up with the authors. So let's take a look at the employee sales and sales context. I know this is a little boring probably, but like I said, I want to give you something that works. So here's the employee. And if you want to look while I'm doing this and you go, yeah, then I'm just going to use the authors, then use that. Make the changes that I'm making right now. This is employee. And I used 50 for the length. That should not matter a bit. Okay, that looks okay. Let's try sale. And the author pluralized that. I singularized it because I was always told that's the way you should do things. All right. And you already saw the foibles that I had when I tried to make my amount a double. Now, could that be what's screwing it up? Of course. But mine now is running. The only problem with mine is, again, it is running, but it's not allowing me to do ads. And it's not giving me any error. That's why I decided to do this and run through it. Now, maybe I will go back. I don't know. But really, it shouldn't matter, to be honest with you. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying it shouldn't matter because I used whole numbers anyway. Again, that didn't put that in. That's a navigation property. All right, so those two look okay. Let's look at our view model, which was very short. Looks the same as far as I can tell. Let's look at the context file. And here as well. This a little bigger here. There we go. These should be identical because I use the author's data. That one looked fine. Yes, to the point where I think it's got to be in the views someplace, but we'll see in just a moment. Okay, that works too. So like I said, if I've got an error, it has to be in my views. So let me Close everything. All right, I have now gone through, and you've seen me do it. So I have now gone through and I have compared mine against the authors as far as comparing the controllers were the same. I might have made a few superficial changes. The models the author has for sales amount has got a double. I made it an int. Other than that, it's virtually the same. Let's go to view. One employee view, one sale view, our layout file, etc. Our app settings, I can't think of anything, if it worked before, so that I shouldn't have to check. The view start is just layouts. I don't know why mine would be any different. I can't fathom why mine would be any different than that. Layout, and the imports. Again, my names might have been different, but the idea is basically, is it the same thing? Yes, it is. So let's look at the layout file itself then. The underscore layout under shared. All right, make this nice and small so I can make this nice and big. All right. Again, I mentioned this, and I've got this quarterly sales app that's not being used, this styles. So I can remove that. I'll try again, trying to make it like the authors. So that's gone now. I noticed right now the author has data toggle equal collapse. I have data BS toggle collapse. Not anymore. And I've got data BS target here. Not anymore. The ARIA stuff is probably going to be the same. Expanded false. It's all the same now. That looks okay. That's the layout file. So I'm just going to take these in order then. Those are all done. I'm going to start with home and do the index, then move on to employee, then move on to sales. If I don't find any errors, I'm finished. Then there's not anything else I can do that I can think of. So again, this is my index.cshtml for home. Right. I did the title differently than the author. They hard coded it, but that shouldn't matter at all. That one looks okay. So the only other one that's left is my sale.cshtml. That's false. I've got the employees ad and I've got the sales ad. So let's look at both those. Oh, according to this, unobtrusive is not in dist, but I don't know if that's true or not. And even if it was, that is not going to keep me from doing anything that I'm trying to do in here. I see they used H4s. I used H3s, not like that's a big deal. Yeah, the first one looks okay. Okay, the last name looks okay. And if any of you do watch this, and I hope somebody does, and you can see where I did something wrong or something different than the author and I missed it, please let me know. All right, that one looks okay. So the only one left, I believe, is the ad that is in um, sale. So let me bring that one up on here as well. Far so good. Well, this looks like it's possibly promising. Got a label here, employee ID. No, that's up here. I know that's amount. Shows you what I know. All right. Finish the div. I should have the same name. This looks funky to me, so I'm going to grab the authors because it is sales ad, so maybe that is where my problem is. All right, now mine is the authors. So that has now checked everything. So I'm going to close the authors and I'm going to close all of mine. Now, normally I wouldn't do it like this. I mean, I'm using two different editors, etc. Probably not the best idea in the world. Hopefully you understand what I did, why I did it, etc. All right. Now those changes are kind of moot that I was talking about showing you the changes. So let's bring mine back up and see if I can now add. And if I can, there was an error in my add routine. And if it does work, for some reason it does work now, I'll show you my entire ad routine because we went over everything else. Now, we're going to have a problem again because I have different names than the author. A lot of ways to fix this. Let's fix it the easiest way possible. Let's go into app settings.json. Let's make mine quarterly sales 2. All right, I probably do have migrations in here. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 migrations. All right, I'm going to come back into my package manager console. I'm going to try doing another add migration. And we'll just call this QS app 2 database. Again, this could come up with errors. I could have screwed something else up. Build failed. So let's do this. File, save all. Let's do a build solution here. I should have done that first anyway, or a rebuild solution. See if I get any errors. I am getting 2. So let's see if we can find them. All right. It's because the author used the word sales and I used the word sale. All right. So get rid of this. Let's bring this back up. This is in our, should be in our sales ad. Let me check in here. So that should be sale. That's okay. That's okay. That might be enough, just changing that one from sales to sale. Let's save this and let's rebuild it again. See if these errors go away. They did. Okay. So run it and see if I can now go in and add a sale. I can add an employee already, but I cannot add a sale. All right, so I've got a new database here now. I didn't even look at it, but hopefully it'll come up and be okay. Did I do an update database? Let's try to add migration again. There, it succeeded. That's good. Now let's do our update database. Remember, yep, all black like that is good. Let's make sure our database is in here. Refresh and bring it up. So there should be a quarterly sales 2 in here now. There it is. Well, that isn't good because it's not showing me any tables in here. That should be the only place I had to upgrade that to quarterly sales 2. My model shouldn't change at all. My context shouldn't even change. That definitely is wrong, as you can see in my migration. It took my migration. It didn't give me any data though. Add data. Still isn't showing me any data in here in the up method. And it didn't show me any data in here either. It's not picking up my data. Why the heck would that be? Then let's do this. Let's remove the one we just added. And let's remove the quarterly sales. So they're both gone. Let's come back into here, into our app settings.json, and let's make it quarterly sales again. Let's go to our migrations, and let's see if we can remove some migrations. Don't know if it'll let me or not. All right. Try and remove another one. All right, so now that's gone. So hopefully now when I come back and do this, it'll add the data. Double check anyway. It's always a good idea to do that. So it's now quarterly sales and it's my quarterly sales. It's back. So open that, open tables. There's employees with the data. You can see they're in there. There's sales with the data. You can see they're in there. So let's close all this. Again, the only one that may be now an issue is the ad that is inside of sales. So I'm going to keep that open and I'm going to run the program again. All right, let's see if we can, let's do this. Let's start by adding an employee. We'll add me. So Jeff Scott, we'll say for the birth date 1/1/2000. And for the hire date, it'll be 1/1/2022. And the manager will be Ada Lovelace. Again, I will take a picture of that so I don't screw it up later. Don't need that picture anymore. All right, so there I am. Add. Now it says I've been added, so if I go to all, there I am. I'll be empty because I don't have anything that I've added yet for sales. See if I can add a sale now. So Q1 for 2023, the amount 45678, the employee will be me. Still not getting anything. Son of a gun. I just wish I could tell you why this is happening. Now, hopefully one of you, when you go through all this stuff, you won't have my error. All right. So my guess is, since I can't add somebody, let's see. I did add me, so let's see if I get, if I try to add me again. So Jeff Scott 1/1. What year was that? 2000. See, it should be catching that error too, and it's not. So the problem either has to be in my attributes or in my view file. I went through my attributes. You saw me do that. I did not see anything in my attribute files that looked incorrect. All right. Now I can go and get rid of my attribute files and put in the authors. I don't know exactly what that's going to buy me, other than I'm going to have to go in and make a bunch of changes. All right. But, you know, so the ad for employee works, the problem is in the sales. And as you can see, when I go into an existing employee, or even if I try to add a new sale, if I try to add for me, I don't think it's going to work. But what's happening right now is what I don't know. I'm looking here. Let's see if it gives me anything here. These are the queries that it's actually running here. I wish the heck I knew what the problem was. I'll tell you what, for all of you, anybody who happens to be watching this, do the best you can on this. I will show you now the ad for sales. All right. And what is the other one here? We got a greater than. We've got a past due. And we've got to validate. The check sales is right here. It appeared to be the same thing that the author had. All right. So we're going in and we're checking what we're putting in here. All right. Bringing in the context, and we're checking our values against what's in the database. If it's null, that means that we don't have anybody in there that matches that. So we return nothing. There's no error message to be shown. Otherwise, this is the ad. I want to check mine right here. And this is in the validate.cs. I want to check sales versus now I'm going to do it the other way and look at the authors. That's mine. So let's check the authors check sales and see if they've got something other than what I have. This is 11 quarterly sales. And this is in the which validation file? Oh, wait, this is in the validate.cs. And in particular, we're near the bottom. Looks like that is done. Oh, I see what it's doing. That's grabbing all the data so that when we go back and fill it up again, let's double check this one. All right, let's check the validation one more time and make sure that what I've got and what the authors has are they match. Models, class, validate. Correct. This is the last one then. Sure looks the same to me. Again, the only difference is that it is not showing on mine. All right, so I've checked the validation file. The only other thing I can think of checking one last time is my sales controller and the author's sales controller. All right. The errors that I'm getting do not appear that they would be the type of error you would be getting in a view file. All right, but it is possible too. So whoa, there's no get set here. Holy moly. Could that be what it is? I'm not setting that up as a property. Did I do that in any of the other ones? I don't have it here either. All right. Got it here. Don't have it here either. Now, with setting that up like that, okay, and I don't need the semicolon there. So let's see. And I don't need a semicolon there. And that's okay. And I don't need a semicolon there. Let's say, oh my goodness, save all. Let's rebuild our solution. Looks like it worked. Let's run it again. If that's the error, that's almost funny, but not. All right, so I'm in there. Let's see if we can give me a sale. Son of a gun. Well, let's see now if we try to add an employee who's already in there, what happens? Now that should flag that as an error, and it's still not. Good gravy. So this should, I don't think this worked. Well, it didn't. All right, but it's not flagging them as errors either. I'm at my wit's end. I apologize. Look at this. Let's very, very quickly at the end here. Let me stop this. And I want to show you what I have for my sales add.cshtml in case yours is different. All right. Because otherwise I'm just going to keep going in here replacing everything the authors I've done with what the author's done. That's ridiculous. All right. So model sale, add sales, bring in our scripts, heading, add heading. Since I grabbed it from the author, I could just do my add view bag dot title. All right. Form, we're posting. Quarter, that's our label. Then in a div, we've got the quarter itself. And in another div, we've got the validation that we're doing. That's all inside of one div. That's in our first row. In our second row, doing the same, but for the year, again, with a label, followed by our information, followed by our span. And again, quarter, 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 year, year, year. I'm looking for something that would be wrong. Doing it again, amount, amount, amount. Again, with our label, with the actual data, and with our span, with our employee ID. Now, remember, this is actually going to show us the employee's full name there. And when I did full name, I did have that lowercase n. Playing with cases like this shouldn't do diddly. All right, employee ID, view bag, and so it's going to, it's storing them by ID and it's showing us the full name. That's what we'd want. All right. And then finally, we've got our buttons. So like I said, not to be whatever, but I'm at my wit's end as to what's wrong here. I really and truly don't know. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally stop right now. Yeah, I know we're only an hour and 40 minutes in and I have no one listening. So I don't know if anybody will listen to this today or not, but tomorrow, what I'm going to do is the other thing I planned on doing today, and that is we are going to start in our textbook on page 368. And we are, oops, what is it, 468? Maybe I'm wrong here. 468. You got it. And we are going to go in and we are going to do a lot of work with this bookstore class. All right. We will write the entity classes together. This morning, I sent you the actual seed data. So you're going to notice and you're going to see how to put seed data into their own class, each thing of seed data. We'll do that. All right, we'll get all that done. Then when we're finished, we're going to go in and we're going to look at however long this takes, it takes. Then we're going to jump into working on 12.1, which is updating the trips log. All right, we'll do that. All right, Friday was going to be a lab day, but if I don't finish 12.1 tomorrow, I am going to finish it on Friday. All right, hope you feel better, Grant. For the rest of you, anybody who watched this, thank you so much for watching. Don't know, like I said, what the problem is. I'll keep working on it. In fact, what I should show you, just so you see it, all right, is, I don't know where it would be in here, but I will look. Not in there. It's not in there, but someplace I had the actual quarterly sales app where I'd created it. I don't know where that is. Sorry about that. This might be it here, but this might be the authors, and I don't want to go give you the authors and claim that it's mine. That probably is the authors. All right. See you tomorrow.